instance, they come out with the time-sensitive product. You can see the person loading it into the back of their car. Here's a sampling that just, there's a small sedans. They're just coming in, getting the time-sensitive items, taking it back out to the community and delivering it.
So do they sit there and wait? So if they work for 3 hours, do they sit in that parking lot and wait, or they come to pick it up?
I've timed them all over the country. They're only there about 13 minutes. So they get, you know how like you order an Uber driver and you can see when the driver's coming? So the technology to dispatch to these drivers, it happens in that similar style. They're told, okay, Matt, come and get your package that you need to deliver. I show up there, I get the cart, take it out to the back of the car, immediately go out and deliver it.
So they're coming from there, wherever they are, their home, wherever they shoot, and so they're not just sitting there waiting.
Correct. They just come there.
It's like Instacart.
See this cart right
Really
here?
what it is, yeah.
That's a sample of, like there's maybe like 10 packages in that one. So they come and just get whatever, and you see the one behind it, he doesn't have near as many as this person. They just come, get their allotted amount, deliver them, and they go home. That's it. So it's not a big traffic generator. Now if you go, and I'm going to talk about traffic in just a minute. If you go to the next page here, so these facilities are, round numbers, about 660,000 square feet on the first floor. There's multi-floors of this. When you add it all up together, it's millions of square feet. This little gray box right here, it's about 10 to 12,000 square feet. This is a very small area, and let me explain how this works. There is no modification to the existing building. So what it is inside this building, there is a chain link fence that comes around where you see the dash line. We leave everything else on the inside alone. No change in lighting, HVAC, none of that. It all stays the same. The only reason we do that is for loss prevention. So that someone working inside the plant can't flip an iPhone or a laptop into the hands of one of these drivers, and next thing you know, product is lost. So for loss prevention, that fence goes around there like that. And then if you see, it's a little hard to see, but there's like a dark line right there, just below the little circle. We add a door that is more suitable. On the outside of these buildings, there's a standard 3.0 door. It's 36 inches wide, and that's meant for fire safety egress. What we do is we put in a slider door. If you've gone to the front of CBS over here in Sturbridge, you walk up to the front, the door retracts like that. As you walk up, the motion sensor picks you up, opens, you walk through, it closes. And so what we typically do is add a door like that because it's suitable for carts coming and going, and it helps with loss control. Okay, so on this page right here, I have told the client, I said, the right thing to do to be people of integrity is to give the jurisdiction a number and then don't exceed that number. And so I've told them to look at how this program works, and they've come back to me with the number of 700 in a 24-hour period of time. And so they actually think the number is going to be about 350 to 400 is what they're predicting. But I told them, I said, give me a number that you absolutely will not exceed. And they said that number would be 700.
Can I interject? Is that in and out? So 700 car routes would be 1,400, one going in and one coming out, or is that round trip?
It would be, yeah, it's a little confusing, the answer. It'd be, the upper limit would be 700 of coming to pick up a cart route.
700 coming in, 700
700
out.
out.
Yeah.
So
Inbound,
just so we see the number out of
700.
20. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Okay.
So,
And so that is the threshold. I can tell you when we design for like stacking lanes, like at intersections and things like that for traffic lights, we're looking for about 2,500 to about 3,000 cars in a 1 hour time frame before we start thinking about, putting too many cars on a particular intersection. So now come back to this right here. What I would recommend is that having been in this facility a number of times and just look at it during like shift change and things like this clearly is the dominant entrance for the associates to come and go. And then on the back at 169 is the less dominant route. The way these drivers come and go is all through this app technology that pushes out the alert that says, come get your cart now, go out and deliver it. What they do is they take my civil plans for routing, and then they program the app based on my plans. So whatever I tell them to prescribe as routing is exactly how those drivers have to adhere to coming on and off the campus. So what I propose is back there on 169, bring those drivers in and out of this entrance here, instead of out on 20 where the traffic light is and the predominant flow of traffic wants to go this way.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay. And then on the last page, let's see if anything else after that. No, I think that's it. So let me just emphasize, it is supplementary. This is not, like if you think of the classic blue-gray ubiquitous Amazon vans, these are not those vans. These are just Flex drivers, and you're welcome to go on your internet browser, pull up Flex driver. You'll see pictures of a Honda Civic and a person in a blue vest,
Yeah.
and that's all they're doing. It's a supplementary program.
Is there a max, like, so I can imagine for Valentine's Day, everybody ordering that, the super fast delivery because they forgot, or, right? So can there be, on these holidays, 10 times that? Or are you saying that, do they max out that 700 number? Like, say there is 1,000 orders, do they say, sorry, we can't do that 7 between that 300 extra?
It's a good question. They're forecasting 350 to 400, but because I pushed them on this idea of the wise thing to do is to present a number that you will not exceed. And then they came back with the 700 to say, we can't imagine it doubling, so we'll go to 700. But their forecast is 350 to 400. And the feedback that I get across other parts of the country, because I live in an area just like Charlton, and so I understand the idea of, our communities, we value, the character of our communities. And so I can tell you this program is a very small program. It doesn't change the dynamic. And the other thing it does too is it is a job generator for people who are looking for a slot that are either semi-retired or moms that want to work a few hours, so it's good for that. But what they tell me in feedback is these tend to be urgent products. Kids that need diapers, baby formula, people need test strips, things like that.
Dog
So
food?
I'm not sure that's true, because I've had 4 a.m. deliveries from these Flex drivers before. And a part that I could have waited another couple of days for. It was just, some
Convenient.
get a message that it will arrive by 4 a.m. and some guy with a car pulls up.
Whose urgency is
Those are the
it?
guys.
Has it been in a delivery van or an
Nope.
individual vehicle?
Individual car, just
Is
like an
there-
Uber.
Time
And that's-
constraints?
and that's kinda what it is. It's an
24
Uber
hours,
app.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week,
Yep.
is that, so it's,
What they do is 5 out of the 7 days, they do specific windows of dispatching. One is an early one down like you're talking about.
Yep.
It's like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
The rest of them are 7:30, 10:30, 2:30, and about 6:30, the evening batch.
Have you ever been on Route 20 at 6 when the next shift's coming in? And I'm concerned about parking. We've had a lot of parking tickets issued up there, from what I understand, because people are leaving the shift and coming in and they don't know where to go because it's
And the
not
change.
enough. The
That's-
change.
Thank you for bringing this to our attention, Mr. Flake. And it's such a property, it could have 1,000 different uses and room for expansion for sure. We went through an extensive site application, of course, with them, and this was approved for an automated sort facility with large trucks coming in and out. There was extensive
Yes, sir.
site design, site traffic studies, and redesigns, and so it's approved for that. This is fantastic. All you have to do is submit another site plan application for this use, because this use isn't permitted under our approved site plan for Amazon facility.
Would you want to review that since we're kind of like an informal discussion, would you want to look at that as like a special use, a conditional use, a supplementary use?
It would just be a special permit for our consideration. It's a
Site plan,
special use for you guys, but for
Site
us.
plan
you do-
modification?
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, it's a brand new site plan application.
So as I'm sorry, I didn't hear you last, Matt, I got Matt, but I want to be polite.
Yeah, Matt is fine.
Matt, okay. As Matt indicated, right, this a building permit application came to me. And I started reviewing it and I went, oh. And as you know, and Ms. Carney has provided you your special permit. This was special permitted specifically that no delivery, household delivery would ever come from this site.
Which we were unaware of at that time, so I didn't mean to.
Okay,
submit
well, that's
that.
fine.
I
Well,
found that out later
Right.
after. the
Well,
fact.
that's why we have formal letters that
Yes, sir.
say, here,
Yes, sir.
here, this is why we're here.
Carefully written that way,
And
yeah.
that, as far as it being an allowed use under zoning, yeah, I think it is. But I think the process is that the applicant needs to apply for a major modification to the approved site plan, that I think traffic studies will need to be done. I don't like being the guy that says, but I drive down that street and I drive down 169 twice a day, every day, and dumping another 700 trips into an uncontrolled intersection may be a problem.
That's a brand new.
And I think
site
when
plan
when we approved this plan, it was minimum traffic on 169.
So I have never seen a truck come out of there. I mean, I don't
I
live
think that was the
there.
plan. That was our
And
plan.
they very well police their truck traffic going in and out of the major Route 20 access. But the process needs to be clear and open to the public of the town of Charlton, because we worked well with the developers. I found it to be people ask me all the time, oh, that must have been a terrible project, really tough. No, there were professionals there that knew what they were doing. It wasn't somebody that was trying to build an oversized house that had no experience in this field. And they've been great to work with as we've gone forward, but oftentimes, there's many arms to Amazon, and you were unaware of the permitting conditions that this was permitted under.
Would it need to be a major modification, or could it be a minor since it's a supplementary?
I would,
I think it would require a new public hearing.
Absolutely.
Just because
It is not a-
Certainly, yes.
Yeah, so-
Does
It
that
would
go
be,
with a major?
it would be a site plan,
Yeah.
a new site plan.
It's a brand new site plan, traffic studies, with public hearing. I think there's a lot we could do with the Amazon facility. This is just one of them, but that's just the process. I appreciate
So
it
the
bringing
so the
it to our
planning
attention.
board has two possible ways of dealing with this, if I can speak for the
Please.
board, is they can have a field change, which you saw earlier where a developer asked to not have to put trees in that were required. And that's a minor modification, that's a field change. But when we're talking, or their other is a major modification. So this is certainly not a field change.
Yeah.
So it is a major modification, which is not an administrative function. It is a site plan, public hearing, have all the ducks in a row, and I think, I personally have no problem with it, but I have to enforce the steps.
Sure. The client has asked for like a general indication of how the community feels about it, like a general sense, like, the list of things that you gave me, I do this all over the country, these are expensive. So they're gonna ask, they're gonna say, what's the temperature? Is there a general sense that you're willing to entertain the idea? Or if they spend this money to put all these resources in place, does it not look favorable? I'm just looking for like
I think with the
A sense for
$10
that.
ask for the schools this year, they're gonna be like, how much more money are we making off of it? Is tax revenue gonna go up? That's pretty.
That's pretty hard to gauge because
But-
people that are unhappy are pretty vocal.
I
Yep.
think what I just
That's the
heard
problem.
here is, I think we approved this, it was just under 2,000 traffic trips a day that we were planning. And this sounds like about, 80 to 90% increase in that traffic trips into the facility. So that's probably not
And
gonna happen.
it's smaller vehicles, so,
Yeah.
but.
Well, I think
still
we're counting
vehicles.
employees too in
Yeah.
that number, so.
And I think
this-
that
this is sort of-
that they're gonna have a hard time going out, getting on 60, there's
Yeah.
gonna be a
What's it
stop
do?
on
It's-
169.
We can get you copies of the traffic study if you want.
I've got it.
Probably got it.
Yeah, exist, yeah.
I
So
read
take,
the full 457
right,
pages.
yeah.
On the flight here?
Believe me, yeah. I've gone through,
Does it
we
back
have
up
all
on-
It's a
gone
good
through the
traffic
traffic
study,
study, yeah. Vanessa
Because,
did a great job on
is
it.
it, does it back up on 169? I don't go on 169 very often, so is it, like when shift changes and stuff?
I see a few cars queuing, coming down the hill from time to time. I see a lot of potential near misses because as someone here indicated, there's a lot of traffic tickets issued up there. I can tell you those traffic tickets are for parking in handicap spots because they're late and they're playing the I won't get caught and I'll get in the door.
Oh, really?
Mhm. It's absolutely true.
Does your local jurisdiction police that up there?
Yes,
Okay, yeah.
sometimes twice a shift. And I happen to have a scanner. I was on the fire department here in town, and I hear them rattling off, no handicap placard, parked in a handicap zone.
I will say this, that one of the things I have done is if there are specific trouble spots that you're having, like whether it's the amount of ADA stalls or for the fire chief here, often I will take a whole zone in the front and strike the front just to keep it as a fire access, emergency services. So like, if we did need a new site plan, we'd be happy to collaborate on those items.
I think you can build off, I did see a site plan in the thing. I think you can build off of that. You have the traffic study. I think that saying that you're gonna dump 700 times 2, maybe. cars
Spread out over a 24-hour.
Right, but that's the same answer that is given for any project. When they say, well, there's 3,000 car trips per day, or vehicle trips per day, well, that's spread out of a 24-hour period. But there aren't a whole lot of people going in and out of Dunkin' Donuts at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
There is a concentration during those hours.
I had a question of just is the building at full build out now? Are they in full production?
Yeah.
It's up.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're
I remember
actually,
last time-
I just went over there earlier. I got in like around 2, went over and toured the plant, and just made sure that everything was.
Because last time we were there, they were probably about 50%.
So I can tell you that.
I didn't go to the upper floors, but everything I saw looked like it's
Yeah.
running as it should.
They're in a permitting process right now, just finishing up the permitting process to add another slam line, which is a mailing label line, adding more pick and pack stations on the upper floors. Staff there told me that they set records during the Thanksgiving to Christmas
What they call it, peak period.
peak period of over 1 million packages a day, and the facility was designed at 600 and some thousand packages a day, and this increase that we're working on right now was to bring them up to over 800,000.
Everybody got good Christmas bonuses?
I don't know what their pay structure is.
So I was under the assumption this was like, I'm gonna have the wrong verbiage, like the first step. And then say Milford was the third step with lots of vehicles in and out and cars. Is this changing from all the 22 tons to now be like the last mile facility, like a Milford?
This is not a last mile facility. So this is just simply a supplementary program. But like if you take the facility that's over in Uxbridge, that is a final mile delivery. So over there they load the actual Amazon vans, the blue and grayish vans that you typically see coming down the street. They'll load those up, and those trucks leave in the morning. They're gone all day. They deliver for 9 or 10 hours. Whereas like the gentleman that delivered to you at 4:30 in the morning was probably a passenger vehicle.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. You could
Coming,
use
dropping off
his
to
own
your
vehicle.
house and maybe
Yeah.
a handful
Yeah,
of
like I
others.
said, he's an Uber driver that had a little extra time. He got the app and said, "Oh, need a
Oh.
package that needs to be delivered here."
It just surprises me. I always thought it was like
Instead
big
of a
stuff
passenger.
coming in and
There's
then
no intention
they-
for that to
it
change.
won't morph, because someone's gonna say, uh-oh, or ask
Well,
us.
but that's why the process is there for this board to look at a modification of the special permit. We're working within bounding conditions that were set by the original special permit. We didn't give carte blanche for me to issue building permits for all sorts of
Okay.
changes, and that's where it is. And I, become, like a lot of other things, I've become very familiar with all sorts of things as a building official that I didn't know about. And I know
Yeah.
more
It
about
often-
Amazon
It
and
happens that way, yeah.
all of the different types of warehouses and stuff, and they're different because I asked.
It would be helpful
I think we've
to
run
see
like it too.
when the plan comes in, to see the data from an operational facility, to actually see And I know some places are bigger and some places are smaller, so, you know, we can, you know,
I could
scale
get
it.
that, I could get that for you.
Does that make sense?
One
So-
that's already operating.
Just so we can see
Mhm.
when the traffic flows, you know,
So I think Plymouth does it.
The
100 cars go out at 7 AM? You know, like, just.
the predominant shift is 4:30 in the morning.
And
And,
then-
and the reason I say that is people come in from work at night, eat dinner, and then during the evening hours, when they sit around, they're ordering, those orders go into a queue, and then they queue up, and then they're delivered in the middle of the
And you
night.
get the people that work third shift on their way home.
And
you know,
just so-
I'm awake. They work for another couple of hours
When
and
we
deliver
have that
packages.
data, we can kind of see, you know, when does the shift change and stuff, and is it at least gonna be spread out, or, you know, and is there something that can sort of be modified to make it flow better?
And does Charlton get first priority?
I can get you that data because I did 2 of them over near Hartford, and I can pull data from that. I also have some that I did last year.
And that makes sense, right? 'Cause
Other
just
parts
to
of the
see
country.
Yep.
how many at once and
Yeah.
sort of,
Because I would want you to have a sampling of what is actually happening in other facilities so you can compare that and know that.
I think that would be important to sell it.
and to help with the, you know, the
And it's
neighborhood.
something we need to sell, that you would need to sell to the public too, so.
Sure.
And we also have other facility that hasn't gone to maximum shipping, and that's the LNG. They haven't hit their max yet, so we have a facility also on Route 169. So people are
Also
concerned
there.
about the LNG deliveries.
What other uses are, I mean, it's such a big facility, there's so many options, like what other uses are possible in the Amazon facility? Like drone deliveries, like what else?
They're piloting drones, and I hear bits and pieces
Right.
about that, but I've yet to see it
Yeah.
like live.
Yeah.
Like I hear them testing for it, but I've never actually seen it.
So not around the Windsor facility in Hartford?
None. The only one that I know, there's only one in the whole country where I know they're trying to
Oh, yeah.
figure it out, and it's
Yeah.
down in Texas.
Right,
Yeah, but the FAA rules on those, and you know the conflict with airspaces,
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
they're honestly having trouble figuring out.
How about a retail facility? It's like, this is a 100-acre property.
No retail.
No.
Their whole culture is not
Not-
to do retail. Yeah.
Not unless it's San Francisco or something, Seattle. All right.
So I'm grateful for your time tonight.
Thanks for
You know, my
presenting.
mark as a professional in architecture and engineering is to be transparent. And so I wanted to just come and give it to you and allow you to ask questions, help answer anything I can. I made a list of those items. I'll be happy to earnestly put those together.
Yeah,
Thank
upfront,
you for
we
being so
help
well
answer
prepared.
people's
Yeah,
questions, because
appreciate
as
that.
people start, you know, after the first open, public hearing, right?
Yeah.
People will have questions, it'll be good to have answers when, they're asked.
I think the biggest is gonna be, when there is a public hearing, is the traffic study.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is because of where you're 169 and Route 20 to come there. Now, basically, that's a 2-lane road, and the bottleneck at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, just with the big trucks and stuff,
Even on
before.
Friday.
Is Blue Water still engaged? Are they still active on the property?
So
at all?
Blue Water did the 2021 report, and I thought that was a good job. Like, I read these all over the country, and like, it's one of the best. So I thought they did a good job on that.
But they're not further engaged in any expansion on this then?
No, but I would probably go back to them because they wrote the original work, so for
You're
cohesiveness.
talking about the traffic study?
Yeah.
So that was it
Right.
Blue Water, was
No,
it Blue Water?
they
that
had a
was-
consultant,
Yeah.
they were the main
Yeah.
developer, but there's a.
They were the
project.
developer, but the consultant
Oh, yeah,
was
yeah.
was somebody else. I think
You're
the
right.
consultant
It was
was-
a Van Ness.
Yeah, Venice.
Yeah. And they're over in Andover.
Yep.
Okay. All right, well,
But
thanks.
for cohesiveness, I probably want to use the same group because
For sure.
the
They got
data
it all
would be-
modeled already. And CISO is welcome here anytime, so you guys just let us know and we'll get you on the agenda. So,
We'll talk to the client, and
all right.
if they would like it, we'll be back.
Yeah, right on.
Thank you so much.
All right,
Thanks,
thanks
sir.
for coming in. Next on the agenda, we've got a couple of administrative topics. Our zoning,
Thank you, likewise.
zoning bylaw. Anything, Chief Barton, did you have it? Okay.
Just hanging out with us.
No, I just like hanging out with you.
Yeah, well,
You heard the discussion earlier about the turnout. Were you here for that? Okay.
Thank you.
No.
thank you. Good night.
No, I was not here. I
Safe travels.
ran
Rockaway.
late in my other meeting, but
Alright.
Kurt handled it. So with the 60 city posting.
Yep.
Good. Mr.
So,
Commissioner.
not that I want to have more work and not that I want you guys to have more public hearings or anything, but we did do a number of things with the zoning bylaw last year. I'm just trying to see if the board has any goals or anything that might align with what we may need to do for this May or not. And just report back that it took a while, but the bylaw changes that went to town meeting in May and that were approved, that were voted in favor, all were approved by the Attorney General, including the ADU bylaw with a lengthy set of comments. They justify what they're saying, and they made some suggestions, nothing that I saw that really needs, they say, well, it's a little, but they did come back and say, we approve the bylaw except for the two words, single family. So in our previous bylaw, right, we said that,
Define family, right?
well, no, it's not family, but in our previous bylaw, it said when attached to the principal dwelling unit, or the ADU had to be attached to the principal dwelling unit and must maintain the look of a single-family home or a single-family residence. And they said, yep, no.
Huh.
So the sentence now reads, when attached to the principal dwelling unit, the gross floor area and footprint of the ADU is limited to 1,250 square feet and be designed to maintain the appearance of a residence.
Okay.
Still a little subjective,
Yeah.
but
I think single-family residence is subjective too. I can look at some houses in town and go, there's gotta be 3 different families there. It's just
renting
the door
rooms.
placements are
Well,
odd and.
the other thing about the ADU law is it says that we cannot unreasonably regulate and they must be able to be placed on anything that has a residential dwelling unit. So if you have a 3-family,
Yep, you can still go.
Oh,
okay, so that sort of conflicts with that.
Residents.
But didn't we increase it, the law said capped at 900 square feet or half the main dwelling?
Right, so we have 2 different, right, but that's just in this one sentence.
Yep, okay.
That's what they said, nope, strike that out.
The
It's benign.
attorneys
It's benign enough.
need to earn their pay, so they need to change something in the document.
The packet on this single bylaw was probably 10 pages.
Comments or?
Well, they're laying out why they did this, what they looked at, all the sites from other cases, what gives them the authority, what they're allowed to look at. So they look at, we send everything up, but there's a lot of stuff that they say, yep, doesn't have to do with zoning, we don't have to fully review that, it doesn't have to do with this, we don't have, but some other stuff, zoning is, they're very, very particular. They had to take on a case a number of years ago where inside of the 495 Belt community passed a zoning bylaw that said that you could not have fossil fuel, no new fossil fuel burning equipment in any building. Well, a derivative of that has happened since then, but they had to lay out that one, they stepped into the building code, which the zoning is not allowed to. They stepped in the Department of Public Utilities because they have regulatory authority over public utilities, and they laid out all the stuff for that. One big thing that failed to gain approval was the number of changes that we proposed in the
table.
use table. and there was one citizen that I think swayed that.
Mhm.
I think, so that might be an easy, if you want to pick that up again.
And pare that down and maybe work with that one citizen to see which ones he have the problem with instead of throwing the whole baby out with the bathwater?
I think in hindsight, maybe another argument could have been made from the floor that
Counter that.
countered that.
So they
'Cause-
didn't accept it? Well,
No, we didn't.
It didn't pass.
didn't, oh, no, okay, that's right,
Right.
yeah.
Didn't pass
That's right.
because
All
of
the,
a
yeah, all
comment
the,
from the
they were all in
floor.
one article, and it was either an all or nothing thing, and I think that.
So, there's lies, there's damn lies, and there's statistics, and I think statistics were sort of,
Yeah. You just got an opinion on it?
I've been working with, and I'm sorry I didn't bring it with me, I just got it, Jonathan Silverstein, who's a land use lawyer that my office used, yours office used, found a sort of discrepancy in our bylaws that seems to indicate that I can only grant building permits for houses on public roadways. Well, that's a problem,
Nothing,
because a subdivision that's under construction that hasn't been accepted as a public roadway is not a public roadway.
We still have a number of private roads in town that are still
And-
maintained by the town,
For
but are
sure,
private
we've
roads.
issued one
Oh.
on private ways. Yeah.
Absolutely, so I would like to flesh that out.
Good.
how did we discover that? Was there a problem?
We had a issue with an unimproved way that got sold to someone that shouldn't have. It's really messy, and where you're dealing with one of those right now.
Yep.
We have a line in our bylaw that says, and it's a definition that says major residential development. And a major residential development is the development of 5 or more dwelling units on a single parcel or multiple parcels within 5 years requires site plan review. Okay, well,
But
let's,
5.5 years it doesn't.
well, it's that 5th one that trips you up. Well, yeah, if you
We were just
stretch
talking
it.
about that, right?
Yes,
We were
we were
just
just
talking about
discussing
that.
that.
Yeah.
That did come up.
So, an example of what I think the intent was that 35 North Main Street, we have 5 or more dwelling units, not, skip that it's in the village district, but if we had another place that's 5 or more dwelling units constructed within 5 years, yes, that certainly needs site plan review, some oversight. But if I have 5 A&R lots in a row, that's 5 or more dwelling units on a single parcel, and I don't know how to craft that answer.
So development. yeah.
Well, that's why I'm trying to
Find
get
the
an
same-
idea
what
of
is
what we want to do.
Can you require on a non-existing road or something like that? I mean, that was kind of the intention, was
Yeah.
a new
Isn't
new
it
road.
Phased
cutting.
development growth, didn't it
No,
have
that's,
that?
it's
different?
just phased growth is a requirement in your subdivision regulation that says when it's over X number of units within a subdivision, you can
Yeah.
only develop X number a year. This is a triggering requirement for site plan review that one time that I know of before me was put upon a developer that was developing a number of A&R lots.
So I'm a developer.
And I'm not sure that wasn't the
Yeah.
intention at the time.
I don't know,
get it.
this has existed
Does it
before me.
prevent someone from sort of like doing a subdivision without doing a subdivision, like?
Right, and
is
that's,
that kind of
Right.
like?
that might be
Around
it.
the
You
subdivision,
sort of have to,
probably right, yeah.
so I'm just trying to gauge if that's something you want to think about, talk about, work on, as
So if I'm gonna put in a short road and put a house on it, I'd still need a subdivision.
if you're gonna put a road in, maybe. If it's a driveway, no.
But then if I put other houses off that
Sure.
driveway, but you still couldn't do that because you don't have the, I'm not sure, yeah.
It's the A&R example
Yeah,
that.
so I've got a
You have
road, I've
A&R,
got
you-
6 lots on this road, I can't develop all 6 lots without going through a site plan
Well,
review.
the subdivision, right, because.
No,
the-
it's site plan review. Subdivision is
No, it's
a
just
thing
site
creating
plan
roadways.
review.
But we don't want them to kind of create them.
If they're all
Yeah,
in our,
let's-
if they're
let's
all
look
in
at
our
that.
lots,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
Versus-
Trying to figure out an issue with that could cause a problem,
Well, I'm trying to say that there is a problem because if you do 5A, if I have 1,000 feet of frontage and I can have 5 A&R lots and in 5 years I'm gonna build that fifth, now come back and do site plan review because when I built the fifth house, now I gotta come back and
Yeah.
get permission?
That's
Yeah.
not,
That's
crazy,
It's opposite
we
problem.
need to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's one of those that I think it's the question of someone picking up on it and using it against someone
Yeah.
as opposed to.
And maybe it's as easy as saying other than A and R, you know, or
Right,
something
maybe,
like that.
maybe, but we have to work through all the unintended consequences when you change that. We have some allowance in our bylaw that myself and the board, Mr. Lemansky.
Good, how Did you lock the door on me out there? I had to go around the
Yes,
front.
sorry, I know,
What's
it was
going on?
hot,
I don't know.
sorry about that.
Um,
Glad you made it in.
There's nothing in law that I know of that says you have to have frontage to build something. Our bylaw says that you have to have frontage to build something. The law seems to indicate that if the board finds that there's reasonable and acceptable access, that you could build on rear land. Or that through a special permit process, or that maybe there's some properties that through a special permit process could support more than one major building. Okay, so one place I think of that we worked with the owner because and the board has approved is 100 Worcester Road, 100 Sturbridge Road. So there's a building in the front, there's a building behind that, now there's another building behind that. Well, there's sort of a roadway there, but it's not really a road. And that's been done through a site plan special permit process. You know, so there is certainly suitable access for those facilities.
So what is it, a driveway, it's a private way?
It's a wet, it's
a
a pavement
It's not a
that the
public
board,
road.
it's not a road, it's not a private road,
Right,
but it's of sufficient size, shape, drainage, and all that stuff
access.
to provide the needed access. And, you know, there are, well, a cell tower, right? That's a use. Does it need to have 150 feet of frontage and 5 acres of area to be its own independent use,
Just to be able to fall down spaces it,
right? So, sort of been thinking about, you know, whether or not that there, you know, to allow, contrary to what some people say, you know, that we don't allow development, we don't work with developers, to allow some of this obscure land
Yeah.
that has a, you know, less than, you know, doesn't have traffic impact, doesn't have to have that. So that's that thought. And then, as was brought up, you know, tonight is this question of reduced frontage lots. Now, myself working with this board at last May's town meeting adjusted the language in that bylaw. Okay, so that bylaw used to say the building setback line shall be a minimum of 200 feet, period. I've always interpreted it as I have
Setback from them,
from the street.
from the road.
We modified it, town agreed, modified it, it said structure setback line, a minimum of 200 feet from the front property line. I thought that was clear.
Yep,
The most front property line on
it's on the road.
is on the road, right? If we wanted it to say from any property line or any abutter, then we would have said that.
Yep.
I want to enforce what's reasonable and understandable. I talked to the neighbor because he called me up and said, "Oh, it says this." I says, "No, that's not how I've interpreted it. That's I think maybe in another community, because zoning and setbacks are community to community." As a member of this board pointed out, if we had front to back lots, the house behind him could be 30 feet off the rear lot line. And the existing house could be 30 feet off the rear lot line. Just because I thought nobody was ever going to build there.
And then Crowdy decided that he was gonna, make a little money off of it and.
Cut lots.
Well, that land
I
was
think-
available to anybody who wanted to buy it at the right price. And there are people that buy what some people might be considered less than desirable lots.
No, I mean,
Try to put a village in.
it's just, hopefully it'll be a nice looking lot. It's very, you can't build anything for,
Can
almost
I,
half
can
a
I ask?
million.
So, but just to
Yes.
finish that up, we should tighten that up a little
Well,
bit.
what do you want it to say?
We don't wanna make it too restrictive either,
Right.
right?
Well, I think we just have to define what's the front of the lot and the side of a reduced frontage lot, because it could be weird shaped as they are.
Oh, I've seen some.
I think it was
yeah.
interpreted wrong because they wanted to interpret it wrong.
I think that the homeowner wanted to interpret it wrong because he wanted more space.
That's
But
right.
I think, yeah, I mean, I would have, I expected, I assumed it was road frontage, and that was the front of the lot.
So the number 3, minimum building set, well, we should say.
Structure
from the
setback
access
is
road
from the street frontage.
street frontage. Minimum of 200 feet.
Planning
So
board
the
goal- planning
driveway
board
would be a minimum of 200
Goals
feet.
with zoning and stuff. Yes, no question.
Well, yeah, I mean, there is.
It's a really good goal.
There's so many.
To do what?
So I did a deep dive on paper roads. I'm like, well, how long are they good? They're not good in perpetuity.
Forever.
They're not good forever. So
But are
some lawsuits have been where they challenged it. If the road was never touched, a paper road for 20 years, then it goes away. But we have so many paper roads, and now lots were merged, and now paper roads are coming in, and back lots are opening, and we have that issue with it's all
And
woods.
people are so desperate for lots and to build right now, so.
So I just,
Trail, yeah.
it's like, so what is the law? It's, you get a good attorney and you try to fight for it if you want it.
And can we address that through like, bylaws and
Can there
stuff?
be a,
Can we-
Yeah,
can there be
okay.
something where a paper road was never accepted, it wasn't a
state law
subdivision?
say?
It wasn't a,
So
wasn't a
I've had a lot of
subdivision.
conversations with legal counsel. I need to be careful because we don't want to be discussing any particular,
True. They're everywhere though,
right?
so.
So, ways laid out, we have them. And I used to think until 5 years ago when we had an issue with a way that ownership was not quite transferred properly, caused considerable problem that has now just finally been resolved. Okay. So these ways, unimproved ways, still exist. And I used to call them paper roads, now I call them ways.
Yeah, yeah.
The town of Charlton has no policy or procedure for improvement of a way. Right? So it goes back to what council has advised this board, that it is done through the subdivision process, where the applicant presents an improvement plan with waivers, and then the board can reasonably require improvements that are equal to the area. There's a big word that begins with a C, and I can't say commiserate or whatever that word is, right? So for a existing unaccepted roadway, okay, which is around all the lakes except for Sunset Drive, the town of Charlton accepted Sunset Drive. These are all subdivisions that were laid out in the 29s, 30s, 35s,
Right.
South Charlton Reservoir. Those are not public roads, but they are ways that all those people that live there have the right to pass and repass on and lay pipes and wires.
So when I hear the word way, I think of a car who's already passing over it. A paper road with full-size trees on it and nobody has touched it in 40 years.
It's still a way.
To me, that's a paper road, because a way means you can go through it
Okay,
on
but
your
that's-
way to somewhere.
Right. So those people that abut those unimproved ways have the ability to petition this board through a subdivision process. Okay,
So
with
they have to write a
waivers.
subdivision, it wouldn't be like one single lot or a...
So subdivision, I'm treading
Right.
carefully on legal
Uh-huh.
concepts, because all of these things have to be proven for the case at hand.
Okay. So in your eye, then, they never expire, because state laws, well, the court law
Mhm.
says otherwise.
I think it's,
After 30 years,
What
okay,
if they're on
well,
a deed?
well, common ownership. the
okay,
lots
so
merged.
now,
still
now-
exists.
now you're talking
Things
about
merge.
maybe prescriptive taking, which
Yeah, actually, I
has,
saw that word.
which has to be adjudicated by land court, where the person exercising that taking by prescription, no one else has used this land and I've openly used it and, okay, taken possession of it and no one has challenged it, okay, goes to land court, and that's what happened with a piece of way off of Jennings Road.
Mhm.
It was, so all subdivisions, when you lay out a subdivision, it's all one parcel. It's divided into numbers of parcels. The road, right, layout, the AKA right-of-way layout is a parcel. It's carried on the assessor's map as a parcel. When the town of Charlton eventually is petitioned by the builder, developer, to accept the road to be public, we get a deed title to that description. So that's,
So when you buy a piece of property that's next to a paper road, you have to assume that someday there may be a road through there.
because your deed describes the square that you bought. It didn't describe the square that you bought plus half of that way.
True.
So you have to assume that somebody will use it sometime, and when it happens,
And that's,
And with the new Climate Act, didn't they bury something in there that said land that was merged with common ownership can now be unmerged because there's a housing shortage? Did I read that right?
so what that section of
Imagine that.
40A, 40A, section 6, new paragraph 5, says that a lot legally laid out and endorsed with a minimum of 75 feet of frontage and a minimum of 10,000 square feet in area shall not be considered merged in accordance with the merger doctrine paragraph. That a house of a maximum of 1,850 square feet of heated area with a minimum of 3 bedrooms can be built upon.
It has to be a minimum of 3 bedrooms.
Yep. It's the only place in zoning law where they prescribe what the building has to be. Most of all, the founding parts of zoning law says you cannot regulate the interior of the house, you cannot regulate color, you cannot regulate a whole bunch of things. You can regulate bulk, setback, lot coverage, but you can't tell people that you have to have 3 bedrooms in a house. This law, and we have one instance where this law has been taken advantage of, but it is up to the applicant to show to me that it was legally laid out, so it had to comply with what the zoning required at the time, right? And it was endorsed or recorded, so an A&R that was recorded. We took a lot that had 2 lots that had been merged. They were larger lots. They had 125 feet of frontage and 100 feet of frontage. Okay, so under the merger doctrine, they had merged together. I had written an advisory to the owner who would ask me, hey, back in 2008, can I sell this lot off separately? He said no, because of the merger doctrine. And they presented that to the zoning board of appeals for relief with counsel of their choosing, who says, yeah, it's not a special permit, it's not a variance, we're just hoping. And zoning board of appeals turned them down. But when this new law came into play, I contacted the owner of that property and said, you may want to look at this and see if it's applicable to you, because what's going to happen with this vacant piece of land if it is not buildable? Eventually, they're going to stop paying taxes on it. The town's going to take it for tax title, and we're going to have a lot that we can't do anything with. So that law has been helpful. That's what I have, folks.
Good. All right, we'll look through the bylaws if y'all can collect some language and suggestions, and then we'll.
If you want me to, I will get that proposed zoning table.
And I hate to say this, but the Solar Climate Act,
It's gonna change.
yeah.
We have, so additionally, we have a whole paragraph on decommissioning. We have to tighten that language up in our bylaws.
Yeah, the
Not
state's
much.
giving us some guidelines on that,
Yeah.
and some other towns are working on it. So
To borrow.
we can borrow,
Yeah.
like we did for Sturbridge, and Sturbridge is going for a moratorium to try to get till December to vote it in. The workshop, some of them said they didn't expect towns to have it ready for annual town meeting, that they would, odds are it'll be a special town meeting, they were gonna give us to December, but now people are saying it's gonna be live October 1, whether towns have accepted it or not. So there's a lot going on.
So I can, and I don't want to get into a long discussion about battery storage, or energy storage systems. The appropriate agency has communicated back to the State House the proposed regulations for 100 megawatts and less with comprehensive permitting requirements for communities. And EFSB and DPU have drafted their proposed regulations for greater than 100 megawatts, where it is all their law.
Yep. 100 megawatt thresholds.
So it's encouraging big ones. Anyway.
Good, thanks for bringing that up, Mr. Commissioner, appreciate it. Any other comments from the public?
Thanks, Chris.
You're welcome.
I was not realizing this 40A, I'm surprised they're changing that, or they did change it.
Well, we talked about that.
Has that been legally tested yet?
I issued a permit.
Yeah. Again, but it hasn't, again, it hasn't been challenged in court yet as far as things.
I'll be happy to have a discussion with you out in the hallway.
Yeah.
This is what.
All right, otherwise on our agenda, we had a decommissioning policy discussion. We don't have to get into, I think we need to get to the next level. and merge this in with the commissioner's recommended bylaw changes as well. We just need to wordsmith this stuff up. Master plan discussion was next.
Yeah, I just wanted
Yes.
to know that it's up for January.
Thanks, Chief.
Good seeing you, Bob. Good seeing you.
See you. Good night, Mr.
Good night, Lady Mac.
And there's a Senate bill.
Yeah, it's going good.
Yeah.
It's, the proposals are due by January 28th. We've got about 35 companies that have requested the RFP, so
Okay.
I think it's good. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. Good. Thanks for cataloging all of them and keeping track of it. Other business at time of posting, and then a planning board update. The only update is there was a message from the clerk. Anyone up for re-election this year in 2026? I think it's just me, actually. No one else that you want? Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
so
there's
it's
one
just me.
every
Yeah.
year. We have it.
Right.
cycled.
Just check.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Run for re-election.
Yes.
Please.
There's
Can I
this,
hand these out?
this weird war about the Republican town committee, Democrat town committee. If they find out you're a Republican, they'll find somebody to run against you if you don't. It's like this weird.
For town
fight.
boards?
For local boards.
It is so not important, I think, it's such a local.
No, it isn't. It doesn't matter.
But that's not what the state committees are saying, that are pushing down to the campaign, so it's, it is, I'll tell you about that, it's pretty funny.
Please, Lori.
Pass these around,
You
please.
got some reading for us? Excellent.
Yep. Made a couple
There's,
copies.
yeah, thanks, Jane. I sent it in an email.
Yeah.
But you could see the red line version behind and what they came up with. And they actually took stuff out that people wanted in. It's,
Is this a proposal right now for St. Mark?
this is done. This is
It's
a done
done,
deal
approved, right?
for this part.
Yeah.
And this is small, clean energy. So if we were to adopt it, I haven't gone line item by line item.
What's small?
Small to the state is less than 25 megawatts. This is something I've been pushing for. DC, because everything.
Yeah, less than 25.
25 megawatts DC for solar, and less than 100 megawatts for batteries. But the battery, the megawatts, is it hours? Is it DC? So I have to dive in and see. But those are bigger than what we already have in town. I
That's
think our
what they're
largest
called.
solar is about 7 megawatts. So it's encouraging getting to their goals quicker because it's rewarding them for the big projects. So we're gonna see some big parcels of land in town.
And that deadline of
Be gone.
2030, zero emission, is it 2030 now?
It's like a certain percent by 2030.
I
And
thought
then-
it was 2030, no new combustion.
Yeah.
Yes, right, and 2050,
Heat pumps.
0
Right.
carbon, but
All heat pumps.
yeah. It's just gonna, I think residents need to know that any parcel is up for grabs.
Yeah.
Then they get to go right to the state and bypass any of our zoning.
And this isn't changing unless governors change.
Yeah.
This isn't changing.
But it's kind of sad, like, why, we already adopted the last round, and now they're saying, oh, that's no good anymore.
That's their
So they're
job.
overreaching
Yeah.
again.
And if you say no.
Well, that was easy. Let's add some more.
if
Well, they
you say
added, but
no,
then they
took
you're
it
gonna-
off.
You're gonna have to say
Some of them
yes.
they took
So-
off.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah, I see that. I see the red lines on there.
People wanted this, and on the last hearing, you know, there's only like 4 residents, people, or planning people. The rest are all lobbyists, National Grid, all the solar, people from California on the call. We're up against the
Do we
conglomerates.
have to change our definitions? I always go to definitions straight away, like what is a
Yeah,
energy
they-
storage
No,
system?
they
Yeah,
don't-
they have them in
They
here.
don't,
So should we just delete from our bylaws?
Well, that's just
Use
it.
it.
What if we
Use
have an
mass
administration
definition.
change? The next person gonna say no, and right now there's some House bills saying they wanna give the power back to the towns instead of taking away our zoning. So we're gonna go through all this work, which
We're gonna have
what
to
was
protect, we're
already
gonna have
done
to protect
is
ourselves, right?
ridiculous. the
When
amount
does,
of
when does
hours.
everything come into effect?
Some say March 1, but July 1, I believe, is the date.
So we're gonna have to make the changes to.
So we're not gonna be able to do this by
By the
July
time.
1. So
Right, right.
during the
100 megawatt hours
discussions,
for batteries, but not DC.
during the discussions, they were saying they understand towns aren't gonna make it. But then another gentleman from another planning board sent me an email and said, no, they're saying October 1 no matter what. Sturbridge is going for a moratorium because they need more time to study it.
Do we need to do the same thing?
She doesn't feel they're even gonna let it fly. It's like,
The moratorium? Or,
yeah, Sturbridge, they're going to do it. The meeting's Monday night. I'm gonna try to
Well,
listen.
elections are coming up, and this is the
Yeah.
governor's platform, and she wants it to, I mean, she wants it to go through, and it is what it is. I mean,
But
it's
they're
just-
taking away our rights, so whenever I hear they're mad because the state's losing rights with DC, and now they're doing it to us, so
Yep.
this is so much work. And who's to say the next,
You know what kills me is that the normal average person doesn't even understand any of this stuff. Like,
isn't paying attention, doesn't
Doesn't
know
even-
until,
doesn't
you don't
even
know until,
know.
yeah.
until
And I'd
it
rather have a
happens.
home
Yeah.
behind me
Yeah,
that's gonna leave trees than have,
yeah.
60 acres of forest cut down.
A stack of battery containers that will burn for a week.
Well, that hum, everything makes noise, so.
and they haven't been around so long where you just don't know. Like, what if one gets hit by lightning and now it burns and it leaks?
Did they have one just burn the other day too? Wasn't there a? Wasn't there a fire?
Rhode Island, there was one like that.
In Rhode Island, the
there was
Warwick
one in
one,
New
I
York
thought
last
there were
week.
3. Last week was Rhode Island?
I thought so.
Because I thought it was
yeah.
Warwick, Rhode Island, when I said something
Yeah.
to you. It's Warwick, New York.
Yes, I thought it was New York that had that.
But there's
the
3,
battery.
and 2 of them have been, and they're relatively new.
Yeah.
And it was
Not
windswept
cars,
rain.
these are, yeah.
So
Cut
we
into
do
the-
have some batteries that I think we need to make sure people plow to them. They're up on Horn Homestead.
Yeah.
So if there's ever, how are they gonna get in there
Mhm.
to keep them cool? So, there's a lot.
I mean, I wonder if there is some sort of, how much do we post on our Facebook page? Because just information. This is.
I could post whatever you want.
Get them or give them where to go find it. So
The 6 people that read it might have comments.
so the DOER is
600.
confusing though. I think
We
it's,
have
so you
that
have
many
the
for a
Department of
time.
Department of Public, who's hired? DOER, you have the DPU and the EFSB.
Yeah.
So this is the DPU.
Which is the highest, right? Department of Public.
No,
Entities
this
above
is-
those. Entities above those.
Yeah,
right?
so then the EFSB is doing the large ones,
Yes.
the DPU. So when there were hearings and I was getting on them, I was so confused.
And this
All
is
right,
somebody
which-
who lives this stuff.
Oh,
Right,
yeah.
she
Yeah, she's confused.
No, it was
Just
like
even compared to a
confusing.
regular planning board director. Like
Yeah.
even a regular planning board director, I could see like
What's the
nobody.
EFSB, yeah, what
Right.
is it?
So when I spoke and I sent letters and they weren't mandating decommissioning bonds.
Mm.
So
Right.
I spoke about it. Well, they said, well, they should. And I said, well, I'm sure you understand how the word should makes us all nervous. Shall, may, should.
Exactly.
And then I said, so you're not mandating
Mhm.
under this section? And they went, not at this time. I said, well, that's disappointing.
Because we haven't figured that out yet.
They haven't come through with their regs yet. So anyway, all right, that's the update.
Thanks for
That's
the
all I
review.
have.
Thanks for the CMR review.
So I'd like to be stricter.
This,
Being a consultant,
just as a separate issue, we should ask these guys for the traffic update, access to the automated traffic control system, the ATCS. I haven't seen a report yet from.
Yeah, I think the last time we brought it up, they said there were some minor issues and they had
Oh,
to tweak
right,
some
what
things
it
and,
is.
yeah, so.
Yeah,
It'd
they
be
said
nice to know what
that.
those minor issues were
Yeah,
and they said some of the side roads were experiencing more.
The new,
just
um,
than expected.
the new traffic study hopefully will sort of provide some new. We could look at the old one and compare it to the new one and really see
Yeah.
how close they how accurate.
Exactly, we need a baseline now before
Right.
this other use.
But we have an old baseline, remember? Like, we have the original from the original traffic study, so we'll really be able
Yeah,
to
yeah.
see. the-
That's a lot of
I see a
cars.
ton more
That-
traffic on Stafford Street now than
Yeah.
I've seen years ago. I don't know if it's Amazon, but I know within the last year, since they started the construction on 20, it's doubled
Well,
the
people
traffic.
started, I think people started taking the
Yeah,
back
but
roads.
it's open now, and it still
And,
hasn't.
and they're used to it.
Staying
and
away
they're
from
used to it.
20.
Yeah.
But even going through, like, sometimes I go through the back to get to, like, down by Market Basket where you can get on 395 to 290. And even that, there's so much more traffic in that direction
Getting off,
too.
yeah.
And I don't know if it's just regular people
Yeah.
or.
I miss COVID. The streets are empty.
Walk in the middle
The
of the
streets
street.
are empty.
Of course, we're empty.
We just need a non-mask COVID. We want COVID without mask, that's all.
Just everybody stay home except for me. That's
Just
all
like
I
right.
want.
Anything else, any other issues? Motion?
Just one other
Oh,
thing,
please, Jay, thank you.
we're gonna have a sit-down next week on a possible new cell tower. So that's good, we can.
In application.
They wanna talk to Kurt and.
Well, first, okay,
Yeah.
good, yeah.
Near the
The
middle
south
school.
side, near the
Probably
south side.
over by
Only-
South
only-
Town.
My phone never works in the middle school.
No, I know.
Daniels
my-
Road.
We want it on Daniels Road.
Exactly.
Well,
That's
Can
the
we do that?
dead corner.
I mean, how
Thanks for the update.
far?
we'll see, but we need one.
Yeah.
Oh, I have one more question, and this is probably because I'm fairly new to this. When people come before us getting approval for a lot and they don't own it, do we still go through it without the owner being present or any note? Because there's a few instances.
It'll say like applicant on,
So if it's
The
the
form.
engineer, they represent.
yes.
So we can assume that, okay, it's not just somebody who's trying to get it
So does
before they buy it. They
does
don't
Hanson
own
own that lot?
In that instance, no.
He doesn't own the lot that
But
he's
there's
trying to-
another one
okay.
on North Main
Hmm.
that we
Yeah.
approved, and that one had the owner's name on it, on the plan, but on the other one, the owner's name isn't on it.
Does there have to be paperwork to
Usually
allow?
the owner's name is on it.
Yeah.
The applicant.
The
yeah,
applicant.
It matches
The
the
applicant
deed as
is-
part of the.
is the
Usually
owner.
on, yeah.
Because on that instance, it had the applicant, but not any owner info, because that was one of those ones that connected to another one.
Alright.
So
Because usually,
I just wondered, so
Yeah,
most
yeah.
of the time it is?
Yes.
Okay.
yes.
But that's good to check, and we could certainly ask, yeah, if they're
Just-
just
Like
trying
when
to
the,
We're doing a lot of work
when
on
the
things,
solars
and
come in,
they
you know
don't
how
have
like they
nothing.
always,
Yeah.
and it's, there's a developer, but they get permission from the owner to be, like, and we get all that.
I think we should ask for that, yeah, yeah.
Just wondered.
Okay, motion.
Motion
Adjourn.
to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nice.
Say aye.